Hello and welcome to Extreme Academy Live. This is where you come to advance your knowledge, advance your skills, and advance your future. This is week 4 out of 4. This is the final episode of Advance Your Career. And after this, we're going to open up the exam and you're going to be able to take that exam, get a certification, put another badge on your resume free of charge from Extreme Networks. So Claire, hi, are you out there? How are you doing?
Hi, yeah, I'm good, Rowan. How are you? Week 4, yes, we did it.
It's good stuff. Well, we're going to get going soon, Claire. So any shout outs before we go?
Yeah, everyone knows the usual shout outs from me. If you want to interact with us, the YouTube chat is open live. If you're watching on demand, please use the YouTube comments. The team are here, we're always answering back. And then finally, Discord server. So again, the code will flash up for you. Please join our community. Again, always great conversations going on there. And we love to hear from you. And I have one extra shout out today. You did just mention it, but as we all know, there is a certification exam linked to this course, and I will be chatting through that later on in the episode. So yeah, stay tuned for how to access that exam. Okay,
and Claire, we had a few snags last week, didn't we? There was a few audio glitches. I just wanted to let everybody know that that was an issue on our end. And like true networking engineers, we always have resilience and redundancy built, and we've got 2 of everything. So we had a device that was behaving unexpectedly. So we switched over to the backup, and we got the backup running. So thanks for sticking with us and being patient for a couple of minutes last week. I just wanted to let you know that issue was on our end. And I think we've fully paid the bill now, haven't we, Claire, for the internet service provider? So,
I hope so. Fingers crossed today goes smoothly.
All right. Okay. Well, Claire, have you managed to get Isaac this time? Is he up the ladder, out on the road?
It's taken 4 weeks, but we finally got Isaac, and he's here with us. Hi, Isaac.
Hey, Isaac.
Hi.
Are you in? There he is.
Yes. You guys call me at the most inconvenient times. Didn't you know? I told you I was busy fixing up my Wi-Fi antennas and stuff like that. Hi, everyone. Hi. Good to see you all. Yeah, good to be with you live again in studio. So
Great to see you, Isaac. Well, listen, it's great you're here, Isaac, because we're in week 4 now of this course. Why don't you let everybody know what you're working on, what's coming next in Extreme Academy?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So the next course that we got coming up is really about building large networks and mission critical networks, right? So we've kind of given in course 1 and course 2. We covered the basic, the foundations, and then we moved to wireless as well. But now we're going to go big, like really big. We're going to be talking about these big networks, not just 100 or 200 or 500 users, thousands and thousands of users. And there's different technologies, different terminologies. There's so much interesting stuff here to unpack. So I'm really excited about it. It's going to be really good. The curriculum is good. The content is good. It's just been finalized. A new look and feel and everything like that. It's going to be really great. I'm really looking excited to teaching that for sure.
Sounds great, Isaac. So it's more technical. So I guess it's vendor agnostic again. So covering, design considerations for big networks. And when's it going to be out? When's it going to be on YouTube?
We should be. I should be starting the recording pretty soon, but I think for everything to play out in production and all of that kind of happen, I think sometime in September, towards the end of September, I think we'll be ready to go with episode 1. Yeah.
Okay, exciting. Looking forward to that, and we'll make sure that everybody gets a notification. We'll send out emails and make announcements of when that's coming, and make sure nobody misses out. All right, thanks, Isaac. We'll see you later on in this week's episode. So, Claire, I think we're ready to go. We're up with Megatrends first, is that right?
Yeah, fourth and final time, Megatrends.
We love that. All right, so this week's Megatrends is all about AI and ML. So some more jargon for you. So artificial intelligence and machine learning. And So this is the fourth Megatrends. Remember, we're filling up your story bank. We're demystifying some of this jargon and giving you some stories that you'll be able to tell and articulate in an interview. And this one's really interesting because it's really on the kind of bleeding edge of technology. There's a lot of talk about it. There's a lot of hype about it. But what we want to do across the first two features, John's going to introduce it, and Isaac's then going to go out on the road. We want to try and bring it to life. So we want to actually, talk about real examples of where this is actually happening and give you something to talk about. Try and demystify that and really really bring it to life. So let's kick off. Let's roll the video, and John's up first.
Hello and welcome to Megatrends. I'm John Barger. Each week we'll be walking you through the biggest megatrends in the industry and what you as a job seeker need to know about them. Those megatrends are working from home, mobility, as a service, as well as artificial intelligence and machine learning. As we go through each of these, you'll see how they're interconnected and interdependent. But before we get started, let's find out what some extreme employees feel about this week's megatrend.
Well, it was my wife.
Okay.
But I don't know, I'd like to describe her as a what.
I first spoke to my daughter this morning.
You guys are the first person I've talked to this morning.
But my cat. My banking app.
My mail app.
Actually, I use Headspace. I meditate every single day.
The BBC News app.
Teams.
Not nearly enough.
I have no idea.
Probably 15?
6 or 7.
Oh my goodness. Untold amounts.
So I have face unlock.
I have an iPhone, so it's through my face.
PIN, like normal 6-digit PIN.
My face.
Today on Megatrends, we'll be talking about AI and ML, or artificial intelligence and machine learning. Last week on Megatrends, we spoke about as a service. Cloud computing and as a service have accelerated the adoption of AI and ML. When some people think of artificial intelligence, they think of self-thinking computers and robots. These machines that can learn independently and take action. But today, this is still science fiction. The AI and ML systems of today are complex algorithms that analyze and interpret unstructured big data. Okay, wait, let's back up a little bit. Let's look at the evolution of the computer. Today's computers are super advanced systems with very specific interfaces. They come in a variety of forms and sizes, from large data center compute clusters to the smartwatch. But when computers were first starting to become mainstream, their biggest use was number crunching, spreadsheets and databases. These systems could calculate many sets of numbers more quickly and accurately than any human. They also didn't forget those numbers and could continue to chain calculations as long as needed. Once spreadsheets and database applications hit a certain level of feature sets and ease of use, office spaces started filling up with computers. Their use continued to grow at a very rapid pace. AI and ML are at the precipice right now. The driving factor for this sea change is unstructured big data. There are now so many compute devices and sensors in the world that it's impossible for humans to track, tabulate, and analyze the data that they generate. Let's take a real-world example. GPS navigation. I'm recording this near Boston, Massachusetts in the United States. If I ask my phone for the best route to a specific location in New York City, I might be given multiple options. One that's the shortest distance, one that has the least amount of traffic, and another that has the fewest toll booths. Let's look at the traffic case. New York City is approximately 4.5-hour drive from here. Changes in traffic can be a significant variable in the time it takes to get there. In some cases, traffic can add an hour or more. You might be able to make an educated guess that certain city centers along the way will have heavy traffic at certain times of day. But what about accidents? or construction delays. Your phone's AI uses historical trends and real-time updates to plan the best route and then adjust on the fly as needed. This is something that would be impossible for a human. All of this data comes from multiple sources at different times and in different formats. That's unstructured big data. Now, IT has the same problem. The number of devices on the network has been steadily growing. Smartphones, tablets, smart sensors, smart lights, smart locks, video cameras, and so much more are now all connected to the network. In the past, troubleshooting connectivity issues for a handful of devices was difficult, but smart IT engineers with detailed knowledge of the network could get it done. Today, the digital sprawl of these devices means that there are exponentially more devices on the network. And as we spoke about in the past sessions, many of these devices will be connected remotely. The only way to properly monitor these networks is via AI and ML. Every device on the network is a sensor. It provides data about performance, connectivity issues, and application usage patterns, and so much more. But again, the data is unstructured. A human can't look at the entirety of it and make any sense of it at all. AI and ML can collect and analyze all that data. Cloud-based AI and ML can collect not only from that network, but all the networks that it connects to. This data is anonymized to remove user identifiers and then added to a larger pool with data from so many other networks. This is known as a data lake. Just like the GPS example, the IT-focused AI can look at the data for patterns and know when a wireless access point exhibits certain behavior, it has a 62% chance of failing within the next 90 days. It can then warn the network administrator and suggest replacing the access point. The AI could know that at a certain time of year, network traffic increases by 50% across certain switches. Maybe those switches are currently running at 75% utilization. It can then suggest to the IT administrator to add more switching capacity to that area. Without these warnings, there would have been a service disruption in the network. In many cases, a disruption can result in significant loss of revenue, increased costs, and lost productivity. Some IT admins are reluctant to invest in AI and ML. How can a computer do my job better than I can? This is the wrong way to think about it. Just like the rise of the desktop and mobile computers, AI and ML helps you do your job better and more efficiently. Instead of spending hours or days troubleshooting a problem, AI and ML can predict some of these issues ahead of time and free up the administrator to focus on more strategic and interesting projects. Making the leap to trust AI and ML on a network can be a hard decision for many IT leaders. It's a good thing they have you and me to help them get there. I hope you found this edition of Megatrends helpful and are enjoying your journey into IT with Extreme Academy Live. Thank you.
Welcome back. Thanks, John. Hope that demystified AI and ML, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So Claire, what did you think of that?
I mean, I don't know about everyone at home, but I cannot survive without Google Maps. So yeah, it's very interesting how it's just used all the time now. I remember when my dad used to carry around one of those like A to Z, like map books in the car door. That was how they got around back then, believe it or not.
What, do you mean one of these, Claire?
You're joking. Oh my gosh.
You know, I found this in my office, everybody, and seriously, I mean, you know, when I yeah, I'm not going to give away my age, but when I entered the workplace, this thing was what this is how I used to do a sales job in central London, and this is how I got around. This is how I got to my appointments. I used to have to look, I used to have to look up the address in the index, and then cross-reference the on the map, and then walk around. This is what you used to see in London and most cities. People walking around the streets with these kind of books, trying to find their way around. I mean, in our lifetime, that's changed. So yeah, seriously, Claire, I used to have one of these. Still got it.
Oh, and now I walk around following a blue dot on my phone, so trying to find out where I go.
All right. Okay. So Claire, do you want to introduce what's coming next?
Absolutely. So next we are jumping back to Isaac, and he is on the road again to explore a bit more what John was talking about in that megatrend, AI and ML. So yeah, over to you, Isaac.
In today's episode of Megatrends, John spoke about artificial intelligence and he related it to the world of networking. I'm going to take on a completely different angle of artificial intelligence, and I'm going to be talking about artificial intelligence in the world of language. I've come out here to Downing Place in Cambridge, which is the home of the Linguistics and Language Department at Cambridge University. Language is one of the most difficult areas to bend to the digital world. It's complicated. Language has nuances. It's not as binary as mathematics. It's not as binary as zeros and ones. We have tempo, we have speed, we have attenuation, we have tonalities, we have high-pitched voices, low-pitched voices, we have emotions, we have anger, we have calmness. And so language has a multitude of facets. Enter artificial intelligence. Any of you who've been using things like Google Translate or one of the many other translation programs will know that over the years, translation has got better and better and better. In episode 1, Carlos Duarte spoke to us and he said that as an official interpreter, he himself has seen how Google Translate is so much better than it was just a few years ago. And this is all due to big data and artificial intelligence, the power of computer processing, the power of massive amounts of data. Just think about how many people make requests to Alexa or make requests to Siri every single day. If you ever go to South Africa and happen to go to a restaurant and are served by a local, and if you enjoy the meal and say to them, "Siyabonga," come on, try it. Siyabonga. Say it. Siyabonga. It's a nice word, right? It means thank you. Or more accurately, it means we thank you. You will generate a smile from here to here from that waiter because you made the effort to learn a word or a phrase in their language. Language connects people. Consider the power of an individual who speaks multiple languages over someone who only speaks one. Imagine traveling to a country and being able to converse with the taxi driver, with the hotel concierge, or anybody you meet. Speak to them in their own language, and then across a border you can speak to those people in their own language. Language is a powerful enabler. Language takes us forward. Language pushes us forward. The reason we're here today is because I was doing some research about the English or the language and linguistics faculty at Cambridge University, and I went to go and look at some of the requirements to come into Cambridge University, and one of them is that you have to be able to speak English really well. And it makes sense. This is an English country and you need to learn English to be able to attend the university. But I wonder how many professors, doctors, researchers have perhaps been hampered by that requirement. I wonder how many students have walked through these doors and struggled with their English and not quite grasped or the mastery of the English. Imagine if artificial intelligence was able to assist us. Imagine if we could take a professor from anywhere in the world who might not have been great at English, but obviously great in their native language. And imagine if they were able to come to a faculty like this or any of these houses here in Cambridge and teach in their own language, with their own expression, in their own way, and have the students understand in the same way, in real time, but in English. Imagine the power that could be unlocked if we were able to to master language completely in a digital way. Google and others have utilized AI and have done huge amounts of research to enable us nowadays to just type in a phrase in English and have it translated to over 100 languages almost instantly. Not quite perfect, but oftentimes more than good enough if we just want a quick translation. At Extreme Networks, I've been working on an AI project that we have, and that's about being able to do help and to be able to teach people in more languages than just English. I've been working on this for the last few months, and I'd like to introduce you to my avatar. How about we start by you watching my avatar being born? Begin avatar generation.
Confirm avatar generation. Please say yes to confirm or no to cancel.
Yes.
Scanning geometry. Please state your name.
Isaac de Abreu.
Scanning textures. Please repeat the following words: secure, flexible, ISO certified.
Secure, flexible, ISO certified.
Scan complete. Uploading to Extreme Cloud IQ. Geometry, loading textures, loading languages. Avatar ready.
Impressive, right? So what if I now switch to my avatar and continue this conversation there? And what if I switch to Italian?
E poi ha parlato della splendida finale di Euro e di come l'Italia sia riuscita a mantenere la calma e a conquistare finalmente il trofeo.
Was wäre, wenn ich auf Deutsch umschalte und dieses Gespräch in einer der schwierigsten Sprachen der Welt fortsetze?
Como puede ver en Avatar, la inteligencia artificial está ampliando los límites del lenguaje.
Eu posso falar em meu idioma nativo, português ou inglês ou mesmo em afrikaans, e você pode me ouvir em sua própria língua local, com grau de precisão extremamente alto.
Imagine taking a teacher and being able to deliver the teaching experience in a local language with the accuracy of a native speaker.
Artificial intelligence, when applied to language, could literally change the face of education around the world. No longer would a teacher be limited to a classroom of 30 students. Now, the world becomes your classroom.
If the advent of the internet and networking pushed our knowledge of science and physics and everything around us, if it pushed us as far as it's done till now in just over 30 or 40 years, if it's pushed the ability for us to communicate with anyone anywhere around the world in an instant just by shifting bits and bytes around the place, imagine the power when we unlock this mystery of language, when we unlock this language that is so analog but so central to human communication. Imagine what could be achieved when we have instant translation, perfect, that contains the nuances of language. Perhaps the next major push and advance in computing will be the mastery of language, where you can speak one single language but can be understood by hundreds of different peoples from around the world instantly with all the nuances and not just a binary form of translation. I hope you've enjoyed being here with me on the road and that you've got a much better idea of the power of artificial intelligence.
Oh, brilliant segment, Isaac. It is so interesting to see how AI and ML is just everywhere in our lives. And I think we're only going to see more of it, and I'm excited to see that. So yeah, you know, we'd love to hear what you have to think as well about this topic, about megatrends, about what Isaac was talking about. Yeah, so jump in the comments, jump in the chat, and yeah, let's get this conversation started about AI and ML. You know, let's talk about this situation now in an interview. So Rowan, what would you expect to hear from someone with an opinion on AI and ML, or you know, or what sort of question might you pose in an interview to everyone at home?
Yeah, that's a great question, Claire. Because this is an interesting one because it's so new. AI and ML is new. There's a lot of talk and there's a lot of rhetoric about it. Yeah, and there's also a lot of opinion about it as well. You know, sometimes you think of it as a bit, you know, it's a bit science fiction. Yeah, what really is it? So I think in an interview situation, you know, I think I'll be looking for an awareness about, you know, what things are going to change. What are some practical examples of how systems are going to get more automated and make life easier for us? So you know, all these systems, they're not going to come completely autonomous. You know, that's way off in the future. That's the science fiction thing. But what they will do, and what you've seen from what Isaac and John have talked about, they will become more helpful, and that's where the technology is. You know, where this technology is really bearing fruit. So I think, Claire, we'll be looking for, you know, does somebody have a real example of where this is you know, coming to bear, and also have an awareness of you know, big data and how all this technology is really dependent on, you know, processing lots and lots of data in order to get to the answers that then become helpful for everybody. So, you know, just have an awareness. I'll be looking for an awareness of that, maybe looking for some evidence of the fact that somebody's, you know, been educating themselves or has been educated in, you know, in data science and the importance of data, you know, and I'll be wanting to have a conversation around those topics, Claire. So I think that's what I'll be looking for in an interview.
Nice. I mean, I'm certainly all for an easy life. So if AI and ML makes my life simpler in the future, I mean, it's a thumbs up from me.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, yeah. Are we up for switching gears? I think now it's time for our careers in IT section. We're talking to Shannon Fallon from Extreme, and she works in our events, so it's completely different to the different sort of people we spoke to previously. But yeah, let's hear from Shannon.
Now I have this scarf on. Are you going to be able to hear me, or is it going to be muffled? My name is Shannon Fallon, and I work for Extreme Networks. We are, and this one always catches me off guard when people ask me, but my quick speech is we're a tech company. We work in networking, Wi-Fi, cloud. We make sure that you're connected. Technically, my true role here at Extreme is Senior Global Events and Corporate Travel Planner. It's a lot. It's a big mouthful. So I do a lot of different things, whether it falls under events, all of our conferences, our incentive events, or maybe it's a small meeting. I handle that. But then it also comes down to corporate travel. So you have issues with your travel or Concur, or a lot of the data that we crunch every single day to see what's going on. I do that too. So I work with a pretty small team. There's 3 of us in the team. It's Julie and Jody and myself. And we kind of divide and conquer on what our skill set is best aligned with. I love working with my small team. I have a really reliable team, and I think that's what's really important in working with a team. I don't think I would like working alone. I like bouncing ideas off of other people and working and collaborating. I currently work remote. I have worked remote even before the pandemic. I do like to come into the office sometimes in Salem, New Hampshire, but I'm actually based out of smallest state in the United States, Rhode Island. I'm a 90s kid, so it would be definitely dial in, AOL, instant messenger, AIM, my away message, and fighting for the landline of, get off the phone. You lost my internet connection. I never thought I could be in networking. I never thought I had the mind or the skill set or even the love of tech, but I enjoy doing it now. I may not really work on the technical side of things, but I love planning and doing all the logistics for a tech company when it comes to events. And I love learning, from everybody in tech. There's so much to learn and it's changing every single day, and I get to be a part of that, and that's pretty awesome. Particularly proud of, probably Connect. Our user conference is a huge undertaking. There are so many moving parts when it comes to putting that event on. And we did it for the first time, I want to say it was in 2018, 2017. And every year it's gotten bigger and bigger. Obviously, we've done virtual the last couple of years, but we're hoping to go back to live events next year in Nashville. There is so much to that. There's so many departments that have to come together to collaborate to pull that event off, to make it successful, to make it better every single year. Being a part of that project and that team is huge, and you learn so much every single year and how to be better, how to make it better, and how to collaborate better. No, I don't make mistakes at work, never. We all make mistakes, and I think that's what launches us to learn and to better ourselves in whatever it is that we do. Yeah, absolutely. Working here has been definitely eye-opening. Sometimes I go here in the back, we have some great guys that will give me a tour. I call it the farm. It's the switch farm back there. I'd never seen anything like that. And that to me is absolute craziness. There's wires, everything, and fans going, and somebody monitoring all the time. So I love going back there and kind of getting to see what we do with that. And then obviously, everything that we're doing with all of our new partners, it's so great. And all of our new contracts that are coming up in sports and whatnot, it's great to see that. And then now too, with COVID, seeing how we had such a huge impact with what happened with COVID and making sure that these school systems got online, that these, hospitals all were connected, because we needed to be there. We needed to help, and getting to see all of that was pretty cool, and that the importance of tech. Hands down, a team player. I think a lot of the times in a lot of different roles, especially in our departments and in marketing and whatnot, you gotta wear different hats. You gotta help out. You have to be willing to maybe do something that you don't know how to do, but be kind of happy to learn how to do it. And that's what makes a good person and a good colleague, is someone that's willing to help. You may not know how to do it, but you're happy to help to do it. I mean, you kind of can't just point to one person that you absolutely love working with, but I do love working with different departments. I love working with John Barger and his department. They are always doing creative things, and such as this, of let's do a video, let's do this, let's go use the studio. Getting to work with departments like that are just, innovative. They want to do something different. They want to make it interactive and exciting. Those are always awesome to, people to work with in general. My marketing department, I love working with everybody in there, because they all have a different perspective on how to kind of tackle, how are we going to communicate this out, how are we going to market it. And it's great to see, the light bulbs kind of go up in everybody's head as a project's kind of thrown at them. Yes, it was a very bulky Hewlett-Packard desktop. I can't remember the numbers that go along with it, but I remember it was huge, and it had the tower, and it would overheat sometimes, if you had it on for too long. It was always that, you got to shut down the computer every single time you use it, but then it would also take about 20 minutes for you to turn the computer on. I think I would want to be like an actress, or actually no, better yet, a stunt double. I think I would love to be a stunt double. I like the pressure. I like the stress. I like the adrenaline rush of things. It's why I do events. There's nothing quite like being live at an event and making sure all the pieces come together. So I think I would love to be like a stunt double. Talk to people. Talk to people in the industry. That's the best way that you're going to get any kind of insight. Learn. Find a mentor. Find somebody that does what you think you want to do. Shadow them. Ask them questions. I know a lot of people always ask me about what I do, and maybe it's not in IT, but I'm always happy to take you through a day and what I do, show you all the different hats that I wear, show you the good, the bad, and sometimes the really ugly of what my job looks like. And that's what you want to do when you're looking for a job in IT. Don't you want to know everything? Good, bad, and ugly? So ask somebody. Thanks so much. This has been so awesome. We good?
I think we're good.
I can slouch now.
Thanks a lot, Shannon. What did you guys think? Another face within Extreme. Yeah, she works within our events team. It's a change of pace from what you guys have seen. But again, she's still in our industry. And I really loved her thought at the end when her advice is to go and talk to someone within our industry, within a job role that you might be looking to do. It's a brave thing to do, it's a bold thing to do, but if you know that company you're going for on LinkedIn or even know the person that might be interviewing you, why not drop them a message? Why not ask to sort of shadow them and find out if that role is good for you or a right fit. So yeah, really, really interesting role, and I loved hearing from Shannon. So Rowan, what have we got coming up next?
So it's being a better human next. So this is the fourth out of four kind of soft skills. These are things that we're suggesting to you that you need to have an awareness of as you develop your career into IT and develop through your career. And this one's really interesting. I think this one's a little bit different, Claire, because this one's about listening. And just a bit of a backstory here. We did some work with Dave Rivness, who's coming up, about listening with some really experienced people who'd been working for a long time. And we discovered that actually none of us are really that good listeners. It's a skill that we kind of forget over time. But if you're good at listening and you apply it in business, you can really differentiate yourself. So we focused on listening this week. Let's roll the video and meet Dave Rivness. Hi, this is Being a Better Human, and this week we're talking about listening. Did you get that? We're talking about listening, and I'm here with Dave Rivness. Hi, Dave. How are you?
Hi, nice to see you, Ron.
So Dave, I know Dave, and I know the company he works for, Eagles Flight, because we work with Eagles Flight. We partner with Eagles Flight to deliver a skills development course, training for our partner community, the people that resell Extreme products to our end customers. And Eagles Flight deliver that program for us to help help develop skills within that community. And one of the things that we focus on in that course is listening. And you think listening, that's not something you hear a lot about in business circles as a skill. But what I've learned from Dave and what I've learned from Eagles Flight is that this is really, really important, and it can really make a difference to you. So I asked Dave to join us in Extreme Academy Live and talk about listening. So Dave, why don't you kick us off? Tell us, just frame this up. I mean, what's the problem around not listening properly?
Yeah, great, Ron. And it's wonderful to be here. The idea of being a better human is fantastic. So we'll talk about this certainly within the business environment for a moment, but all of these skills, especially around listening, is something you can apply in a lot of different areas of your life. So I'm really happy to be here talking about this topic. And I think listening is an interesting one, as you mentioned, because I think it is an active skill. And most people don't think of it that way. They think of it as more passive. It's sort of the thing that I'm doing when I'm waiting until I get a chance to talk. So this idea of listening and being something active that I can get better at is not really what people think about. There aren't a lot of courses in listening, and people think they do it well. But getting better at listening is really valuable, from getting your first job to working effectively with teams to moving beyond individual contribution to leading. Listening in the different environments, whether it's customer service or sales, can really give you a competitive advantage if you're good at it. And funny enough, that idea of being a better human, there's a direct correlation between how people perceive you as a listener and how they feel about you generally. And maybe your willingness to partner with them, your abilities, how much you care about them. So if you can become a better listener in the eyes of other people, you get a lot of other benefits. And the last thing that I would say about that, just to add to your question, is that most people think they're good listeners. That's maybe one of the reasons why people don't concentrate on getting better at it, but they really aren't. I mean, if we look at some studies out there of trying to measure how well people listen, most people don't listen very well. There's a great TEDx video that I think we'll put in the comments talking about this Dunning-Kruger effect that explains a little bit why people think they're better at some things than they really are. But it's really cool, actually, if you think about it, that most people don't work on listening skills, because that gives you an advantage if you work on it, kind of a competitive advantage in whatever environment you're in, whether you're in an interview for a new job or you're working with a team or you're leading people. Because if you can get better at it, you're perceived as a better leader than everybody else. All of a sudden, you get the benefits from that.
That really resonates, Dave. And so everybody watching, I mean, think about that. Are you? Do you think you're a good listener? Do you actively listen? I mean, when we ran that course, Dave, or we've done it quite a few times now. We had experienced business professionals in that course, and they all come away with the same takeaway. It's like, oh yeah, actually, I'm not that good of a listener. Once they'd been through that module, so. And I'd say, Dave, as well, I think about the meetings I go to, you're always thinking about what am I going to say next? You're not really listening to what the other person's saying. So it's really important to think about active versus passive. Listening in this case.
Great listeners don't just have the ability to repeat what someone said. They're thinking about the whys. What was the actual intention of the person speaking, regardless of the words? Why did the person say what they did? Why do they choose the specific words they chose? What do they want the listener to take away when they were speaking, regardless of the words they chose to use? And as you were saying, Rohan, before, if you have this in the back of your mind, you're going to be a much more attentive speaker anyway, because it's kind of a little bit of detective novel. You're trying to figure out what's behind the words. What are they really trying to get a message across? And if you're thinking at that level, you'll find yourself concentrating and getting more out of that person speaking than other people do. And I think a great example, I'll give you two, one in business and one in life. I've been in sales situations before where we'll go in with two salespeople and they'll listen to the same customer talking about the same things. And when we talk about it later, the two salespeople will have heard different things, because one salesperson heard the words. The other person was looking for, well, what was the intent behind the words? This idea of listening for intention. And you can see this in the real world. Sometimes if you get in an argument with someone, you're a friend, a spouse, and they say you aren't listening to them. And sometimes your defense is, oh, I heard you. I can even repeat the words that you said. And sometimes that makes the person even angrier, because they really want you to understand what they meant, not just the words they said. So this idea of listening for intention and creating in your head a commitment that I'm going to listen beyond the words, and I'm going to think about what are they trying to say and why did they pick those words? It'll allow you to be a far better listener. And if you combine that with these attending behaviors that we're talking about, you're going to have the best of both worlds.
Wow. I mean, that's, you can't just turn this on overnight. I guess, Dave, this is something you've got to be aware of first, and then you've got to think about it, and then you've got to practice it. So, Dave, final thing then, is there anything, say in the context of an interview, is there anything you can give or share with the team here that they could think about, they could do, that would help them, in the next interview that might be coming up?
Well, let's talk a little bit about a meeting, or in your case, an interview. What you mentioned was an interview. At some point, you're gonna probably speak, and it in an interview situation, you want your words to be powerful, so the interviewer thinks, "Wow, this is a great candidate. I want to give this person the job right now." So how do you do that? First of all, one of the things to think about is the better listener you are, the more you can incorporate what you've learned in listening when you're speaking. And by the way, people don't think about that as well. Listening well is also about gaining the nuggets that you can use when you speak, because it'll resonate with the person that is now the listener. So number one, incorporate what you learned in your words. So if you come into an interview, for instance, with a practiced way of answering a question, that's great, because you have thought through what the questions might be and what your answer is. But don't spend so much time just in your mind thinking about your turn to speak without listening to the interviewer and changing a little bit about what your answer is going to be based on what you've learned.
That's great, Dave. Lots in there. Really valuable conversation here on being a better human. So as Dave said, we put some things in the chat window. There's some things you can go and watch. You can read if you want to get further into this topic. Final thought from me, Dave, is that when you think about business and you think about being successful in business, you always think it's the person who can speak the best, the one who talks the most in the meeting. But I think our message here as well is actually that it's the people that listen the best are the ones that have the most impact. Is that right? Would that be a good way to end?
I mean, I think when people leave, it's back to being a better human, because I want to underline that, because you just said that, and that really resonates with me. The listening skills we're talking about will get you ahead in the business world, of course. But generally, being a better human and creating human relationships and fostering friendships and having a better relationship with the people around you, listening will also do that if you become a better listener. So this idea of can I bring that to all the environments that I'm in, and can I be better than that, will give you lots and lots of different advantages, of course. And whether that's, again, in your job search, in a sales environment, just generally working with others and being with others in any environment. So I think you're right. Absolutely. This is a skill that a lot of people don't think about and don't work on. And if you're able to work on it, people will leave meetings with you thinking, boy, that person I want to be around more, because they're the one person in the room that made me feel like they heard what I was trying to say. And if you can get that kind of brand for yourself, it takes you in a lot of places, whether it's a career trajectory or it's just that being seen as a better human.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dave. Let's bring it to a close now. You've been watching Being a Better Human with Dave Rivenus. Thanks, Dave, for joining us. Back to the studio. Thanks, Dave. That was great. That was all about being a better human and being a better listener. What did you think of that, Claire?
Sorry, what did you say? No, I'm only joking. Of course I was listening. Yeah, I mean, it's such a day-to-day skill that all of us have, all of us use. I'll hold my hands up. Sometimes I'm not listening, but I think it's only human nature, right? But Dave had some really good points, I think, about understanding the meaning of what someone's saying, and can you articulate back to them rather than just repeating what they say. So yeah, we've actually got some extra footage from Dave, which we'll be sharing around some tips and tricks on listening. So yeah, we'll share those in the comments if people want to take a deeper look into what you chatted to Dave about.
Okay, fantastic. Well, look out for that bonus feature or bonus material on that topic. All right, before we got one more last thing to do. We're gonna tell you about the exam. So now we're coming up to the end of week 4. There's now a certification exam. So Claire's recorded a little video just to introduce you to what you need to do and what steps you need to take to get access to the exam and get that certification. So back to Claire, and this is something Claire recorded earlier.
Okay guys, here we go. It's exam time, certification for course 3, and here is just a quick whistle-stop tour on how you can get signed up and access the exam. And just to point out at the start, if you do already have an account with us, a lot of you probably do now, you don't need to sign up again. You can log into the Extreme Dojo and use the link at the end of my little section here to access the exam. So yeah, here we go. Firstly, what you need to do is go to our Academy Extreme page. So that is academy@extremenetworks.com. If you go to the top right hand corner and select the login page and go down to support portal, this will then take you to the login page, but if you are new to us, like I said, you just need to click the create a new Extreme portal account or Academy account. As I've said from the beginning, if you do have an account with us, you just need to log in. If you're creating a new account, fill in your registration details, tell us you're not a robot, and hit submit. You should receive your registration confirmation almost instantly, and from that you will receive an email. Keep an eye out for that email. It could go into your junk or spam folders. And once you've got that, you just need to click on the hyperlink within the email that says Extreme Login page. This link will take you to create yourself a new password. And once you've done that, you can enter into the dojo. Here is a QR code for the new Course 3 exam, so please use that. Just remember, you do need to be logged into the dojo first before you can get access to this page. We will also share the hyperlink on the screen, and we will put it in the comments for you. Once you've clicked on the link or used the QR code to access the exam page, once you hit start, you can see here there are some guidelines around the exam. Take a moment to review these, check the pass mark, check the amount of attempts you've got. You can see here you get 2. The pass mark is slightly higher with us this time, but you do get to review your incorrect answers. So we would really hope that you guys all nail it the first or second time. And that's it. Once you've completed the exam, you've got your XNA for Advance Your Career, which is fantastic. For a lot of you, this might be your 3rd XNA. For some of you, it might be your 1st, and that is absolutely fine. But yeah, that's all you need. Again, any questions, please jump into our Discord or even email us. You all know the email by now, but we will jump it up on the screen for you, and we are all here to help. So good luck, and hope to see those certifications rolling in.
Thanks, Claire. Okay, you got the information on the exam now. You know what to do. You can come back and watch that a little bit if you need to later on, because this is going to be posted and the recording's available, remember. So we brought Isaac back in. So let's close up now. So Isaac, any closing comments?
Yes, I think this course has been a little bit different to the other ones, not technical at all, but that doesn't mean that this is not important. The stuff that you've learned in here, the stuff that you've been exposed to, this is so important if you're in a position of looking for a job, walking in the front door of a company like Extreme or any other in this industry, because we're all dealing with the same things. We're all dealing with mobility and AI and ML and all of these things. So I think that the value that we've been able to share in this, I think that it's just so important and it's empowering. So looking forward, go get that exam, hit that XNA, take it and hit big on that one, because this is going to be good for you.
Thanks, Isaac. Then Claire, any final shout outs, thoughts from you?
Yeah, I mean, everything above what Isaac said, I completely agree. These are just skills you're going to take on you for the rest of your careers or even life. It's simple stuff that I think sometimes we neglect, but yeah, you can just brush up your skills on anything that we've talked about in these 4 episodes, and hopefully get yourself a new job or change role or whatever it is you're looking to do. And we're here to help and support you as always. So yeah, reach out. obviously the live chat is still going now, but the comments on demand, please keep having those come in. The team are there, as I mentioned, as always. And our Discord server, last and final mention to Discord server, we've got a massive community on there now. And yeah, we just want to see it grow and see that tech chat continue. So yeah, I'm been really excited to present with you guys on this third course, and looking forward to doing the rest.
That's great. Thanks, Claire. Thanks, Isaac. All right, we're at the end now. Keep your comments coming, like Claire said. We'll be back with the next course probably towards the end of September, but keep in touch in the meantime. Just like Claire said, you can do that through the YouTube, you can do it through the Discord channel, and yeah, we wish you well over the next month, and we'll see you again on YouTube soon.
Take care.